Hello, welcome back. My name is Leah. I want to keep this introduction really short and to the point because I have quite a few things to get through this evening because we are attending a funeral tomorrow, and I would like to bring a couple of items to the family. It's just as tradition so they can enjoy some good food and not have to worry about cooking during this time. It's actually for two families, so I'm gonna tell you what it is that we're making. I have a couple of box mixes that I want to use. This one I actually really love is the Dolly Parton cornbread. I love it. I also just love cornbread. Yes, you could make it from scratch. Do I? No. The next one is the Krusty's cinnamon swirl. What is it? Crumb cake. But my twist to this, and I've actually made it before and it's really good. I substitute the eggs plus a bit more with banana. So we're doing a banana cinnamon swirl crumb cake muffin. Well, actually, we're doing it in muffin form. I'm not going to make it as a cake. The last time I made it as a cake, this time I'm doing it as muffins so that I can split them up between each family. Previously, I've already made the white chicken chili to go with the cornbread. Currently, I have it in my freezer in my cube molds like this. They're the soup cubes. This one I think is the 2-cup mold. They're not quite full all the way to the top, and then the other one I believe is my 1-cup mold. Both of them, they're for older people, so of course they don't eat quite as much, and they can warm it up and serve it, you know, as they see fit. Maybe they'll eat bits of it throughout the day, but it's just smaller portions because they're a smaller household now. And we're also making baked ziti. We're making all beef baked ziti, no pork or anything like that. And I believe that's it. So I'll have the white chicken chili, cornbread, the banana crumb muffins, baked ziti, and yes, I don't know, that my days and everything else are kind of flowing together right now. It's been a very long week, but let's just get into it. We're going to start with this one first. So starting with the muffins first, I have some baked bananas here. They weren't fully ripe initially, like, you know, the dark brown you usually want from bananas when you make banana bread. So I just stuck them in the oven for a little while. Now they're very slippery, but they're also soft, and it increases the sweetness that you would expect from the super duper ripe bananas. I'm gonna go rinse my hands off. So per the directions for making the muffins with this mix, you're supposed to stir half of this into the batter, and because that is the case, I'm going to add it now. This is actually the crumb topping. That looks to be about half. I'm just going to mash this up a good bit with the sugar before I add everything else. This is not quite as broken up as I would like it to be, but I'm just going to wait a second and add in the butter. We also need milk. I have eggnog that I want to use up, so I'm going to use a combination of eggnog and regular milk. Or, well, 2% milk. It's not whole milk. And then mix this all together. And because the bananas are still kind of chunky, I don't want them to be chunky in the muffins themselves. So I'm going to blitz this very briefly with my immersion blender. This has been blended. and it looks a lot better. It is much, much smoother now. So we're gonna stir in the muffin mix. Here we go. I just didn't want the batter to get stuck all in the whisk. Yeah, I think I need some more liquid. Now this looks like a good consistency. It's very thick. And we're gonna scoop this into my cupcake pan. Today we're going to be using these tulip liners that I purchased off of Amazon. I can actually link these for you down below if you're interested. They don't fit too well in this. They're mainly meant for like muffin pans that are larger, but once you fill them and they settle down in there, they look just fine. It's not too bad. I'm gonna set them up though. I'm just gonna put that many in there for right now because I don't even know if we'll have enough batter to make 12. I think that's how many that fits. And I'm actually going to use my cookie scoop to make our life a bit easier. And I'm just gonna do 1 scoop per cup as of right now, and then I can add more as I go on, but I also want to make sure they're the same size. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I would like to get 2 more out of the batter. And then that'll put us at 8 in total. The pan. I was tapping them to get some of the air out and to get it down into the pan. And I want to sprinkle some of the sugar on. I guess I'll put it in my hand first. Just so I can control it a bit better. Oh no, I'm dropping some. That wasn't very controlled. All right, and this is how they're looking. And now I'm gonna put them in the oven at 350 for about, I think it was 40 or so minutes, but I have to check them probably every like 15. I ended up getting a phone call from my mom. So the muffins are now done. This is how they look. They're super brown. They're nice and soft. And I don't know what I was doing earlier when I was like, oh, I don't think I'm going to be able to get 8. I have 8. So 4 for each household. It worked out perfectly. I don't know what I was thinking. Now we're going to start on the cornbread. First, I'm going to add in, I think this calls for 1 egg. Yeah, 1 large egg. This is an egg, medium of some sort. And then a cup of milk. And give this a stir to break up the egg before I add in the the actual mix. Oh, and I have my butter here as well. I'm actually going to set this to the side so I can use this butter from the dish to butter my aluminum pans. It says in the directions to use Pam. I'm sure you can use any other sort of baking spray. I just don't have any in the house. I typically use like essentially a cake goop or whatever, or just use some butter and coat the sides with like sugar or flour. But I think the last time I did this, I believe I just coated the pan with butter and it came out just fine. I made 2 of these before. One of them I had with cornbread, and then the other one that I put in the freezer, we took on vacation for Thanksgiving. So we went up to the mountains, and it was amazing. It reheated very well in the oven, and then I just rubbed on some butter. This is probably not the best tool for this, but I didn't want to dirty up another whisk. Now I'm going to add in my butter. Oops. Stir that around. And now the mix. That looks good. I want to split it between my 2 pans. And I'm going to get these into the oven. We currently have the water going for the baked ziti. My cornbread is still cooking. My timer just went off, but I don't think it is quite done. Let me get out a butter knife to poke it. As you can see, it's definitely not done. What I'm going to do is turn the heat down so that the tops don't brown nearly as much. And I'm actually cooking it in my little air fryer oven situation over there because it makes my life a lot easier. If you are interested in these little aluminum pans, sorry, that was my phone going off. If you're interested in these little aluminum pans, I can have these linked down below as well. I purchased like a 50 pack off of Amazon. It is very nice if you give away meals a lot, especially because they're like a 1 to 2 person portion, depending on if you're doing like a meat entree type situation or if you're doing something like a lasagna. I'm doing baked ziti in these, so for baked ziti this is likely like a 2 person portion pan. If you're doing a complete meal, it's 1, but I love giving meals away in these pans. I've also, when I meal prepped for our trip to the mountains for Thanksgiving, I use these pans to make the Thanksgiving sides because it's just the 2 of us. We don't need a big pan of mac and cheese or dressing, or what else did I make? Oh, I currently have in my freezer some seafood dip. So nonetheless, they are very nice. You can use them a multitude of ways. I have out my brazier here, and I'm just going to turn my little stove on and get the ground beef cooking. I'm also super excited to use my home canned tomato sauce. I haven't used it yet, but I gave some to my mother and she loved it. She's used it to make, I think, regular like beef bolognese spaghetti and I think lasagna. She really liked it. So I'm going to use it to make this baked ziti. And I'll know if next year I want to make more tomato sauce. My pan is nice and hot. So now I'm going to add my ground beef. also don't think I need quite this much ground beef. That would be 2 pounds. Well, actually over 2 pounds because each package is a little bit over a pound. I think that's more than enough. Stepped away to wash my hands, and now we're going to flip the ground beef and break it apart because it's a lot easier to break it apart once it's been cooked a little bit. The trick is the same even with the meat masher. You want to cook your ground beef just a little bit. I'm going to wait to season this. This ground beef is fairly lean, but I don't want to season it too heavily right now and then have to drain off all that flavor. So I'm going to let this cook a bit more. And these are done. They look super pretty. Quite a bit of liquid ended up accumulating in the pan right here, as you can see. So I'm just going to pick this up and go drain it off into a separate bowl in my sink because I don't want all of this. Let me turn this burner off just to be safe. I don't want all of this in my sauce. Here we go. To my water for my noodles, I added in a chicken bouillon just for a bit more flavor. And I am using the standard ziti noodles by Barilla. And I'm going to use my home canned tomato sauce. I just use my nail. There we go. Came off better this time. Got it. Had to try again with the knife. I'll probably end up putting a little water in here just to get out the rest of this one. Alright, now let's get that stirred in. Here's my garlic paste. I'm gonna get that in there. Some garlic powder. I know, I just added garlic. And yes, garlic powder. Onion powder. Smoked paprika. I know many people may be wondering why paprika to a sauce. I like the smoky flavor it adds. Some people may say paprika doesn't taste like anything. It does to me. Some oregano. And a bit more salt. In the meantime, while this is cooking, I'm actually going to put a lid on it and we're going to start on like the creamy filling, sort of kind of, that goes into the baked ziti. Alrighty, my meat sauce is simmering over here and my noodles have been cooked. So now we're going to start on the cream sauce portion. And I'm going to add a little bit over half. Whoops. A little bit over half of the boars and cheese. And pretty much all this ricotta. Just mix it together. More garlic. It was fresh when I grated it, but then I stuck it into the freezer so that it would last a bit longer. I thought I may have needed some like pasta water just to thin this down a bit. I still might. I'm gonna add just a little bit of the pasta water. It's red because it's the pasta water from my tomato sauce. Well, that I put in that jar and it didn't drain fully. I think I'm going to use my stand mixer bowl for this. Adding in the cooked ziti noodles. I haven't put any butter or anything like that on them to actually have the sauce adhere to them, which is why I didn't add any butter. But now I'm going to add my sauce. And mix. I'd say this is well mixed. So I'm going to start putting it in my pans here. The spoon was breaking, sorry, the measuring cup was breaking my noodles up a little bit too much. So I'm going to switch to the spatula. And try to get it as flat as possible before adding the ricotta mixture to it. All right, those look pretty good. I just need to shred up some mozzarella cheese to go on top, and then we're gonna I don't know if I'm going to bake them ahead of time or if I'm just going to get the cheese on and then the person receiving them can bake them. I'm not sure. I'm just going to set these to the side for now. I'm making the last one. I think I can get the last full pan at least. I think I can get with the amount of noodles I have left. And so far I have 3, so this will make my 4th pan, 2 for each household. It's pretty good. And then there's going to be a small bit in there once I cover this. I think that's as much as I can get in there. And now it just needs the mozzarella cheese. These are the tops that come with these pans right here. Actually, let me move it over so that you can see. There we go. Anywho, these are the tops that come with these pans. I decided that I'm just going to sprinkle some more Parmesan cheese on the top. I put instructions on the covers, the lids, for how to cook these. Okay, I think that's good. Let me put these lids on them. Alright, 4 baked zitis. Now I'm going to lay out everything that I've made today and I'll be right back. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in today. I'm sorry the lighting looks a bit funky, but let me just show you everything that we made. The white chicken chili is still in the freezer. I'm not going to set that on the counter. I don't want that to start thawing. But here we have the muffins, which looks so good. They look so pretty. We have the muffins here, the big ziti that has the lids on it and some directions, and our nice and golden cornbread. Look at how pretty that looks. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you again next time. Hopefully I can begin posting more frequently. I would like to. Life has just been a big hectic. I'm sure it has been for a lot of us, but I hope you all have a wonderful holiday. Christmas is coming up. Hopefully you're able to spend time with family, have good food, create good memories. But I hope to see you again next time. Bye.